Be wary of friends, they will betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. They also become spoiled and tyrannical. But hire a former enemy, and he will be more loyal than a friend, because he has more to prove. In fact, you have more to fear from friends than from enemies. If you have no enemies, find a way to make them. It is natural to want to employ your friends when you find yourself in times of need. The world is a harsh place, and your friends soften the harshness. Why depend on a stranger, when you have a friend available? The problem is that you often do not know your friends as well as you imagine. Friends often agree on things to avoid an argument. They cover up their unpleasant qualities, so as not to offend each other. Hidden resentments grow over time. Friends can also be prone to envy when they see your success. Some friends want you to do well, just not too well. If you surpass them, they turn jealous. Envy is an overwhelming emotion. An envious friend can turn into a dangerous enemy. And friends make the worst enemies because they know your weak spots. No one wants to believe a friend will betray them, but it happens all the time. We all wear social masks. Chances are you don't know your friends as well as you think you do. Since honesty rarely strengthens a friendship, you may never know how a friend truly feels. Friends will say they love your poetry, adore your music, and envy your good taste in clothes. Maybe they mean it, often they do not. When you decide to hire a friend, you gradually discover the qualities he or she kept hidden. Strangely enough, it is your act of kindness that unbalances everything. People want to feel they deserve their good fortune. Receiving a favor is a burden for many people. They don't want to feel obligated to anyone, especially a friend. It means they have been chosen because they are a friend, not necessarily because they are the best qualified or deserving. There is almost a touch of condescension in the act of hiring friends that secretly afflicts them. Slowly at first, you begin to see changes in the friend you have hired. He becomes a little more honest, flashes of resentment and envy begin to pop up here and there. And before you know it, the friendship fades. The more favors you supply to revive the friendship, the less gratitude you receive. Ingratitude has a long and deep history, and is common among friends. Never expect any real gratitude for any favor or kindness you give. Even worse, a common but deadly mistake is to expect loyalty for the favors and kindness you bestow. Give for the sake of giving and expect nothing in return, especially loyalty. Friends will often take your favors and gifts for granted. They will subconsciously resent your charity as patronizing. They forget the favors they have received, and somehow imagine they have earned their success by their own merits. It is better to be wary, avoid disappointment, and never expect gratitude from a friend. Then when they do prove grateful, you will be pleasantly surprised. The problem with using or hiring friends is that it will inevitably limit your power. The friend is rarely the one who is best able to help you, and in the end, skill and competence are far more important than friendly feelings. All working situations require a kind of distance between people. You are trying to work, not make friends, and too much friendliness only obscures that fact. The key to power then, is the ability to judge who is best able to further your interests in all situations. Keep friends for friendship, but work with the skilled and competent. Your enemies, on the other hand, are an untapped gold mine that you must learn to exploit. A wise man will learn to use his enemies to his benefit. Whenever you can, bury the hatchet with an enemy, and make a point of putting him in your service. Enemies do not expect any favors. They know they must earn whatever they get from you. So create a partnership with an enemy based on mutual self-interest, untainted by personal feelings. If it is in their best self-interest, they will prove to you their worth. Such a person will go to great lengths to prove themselves. As Abraham Lincoln said, you destroy an enemy when you make a friend of him. All enemies are not necessary, and can be turned to allies. In 1971, during the Vietnam War, Henry Kissinger was the target of an unsuccessful kidnapping attempt. In private, without informing the Secret Service or the Justice Department, Kissinger arranged a Saturday morning meeting with 3 of the alleged kidnappers. Explaining to his guests that he would have most American soldiers out of Vietnam by mid-1972, he completely charmed them. They gave him some kidnapped Kissinger buttons, and one of them remained a friend of his for years, visiting him on several occasions. This was not just a one-time ploy. Kissinger made a policy of working with those who disagreed with him. Colleagues commented that he seemed to get along better with his enemies than with his friends. Without enemies around us, we grow lazy. An enemy at our heels sharpens our wits, keeping us focused and alert. Strong enemies motivate us to get stronger. Enemies can push you to greater heights of power. It is sometimes better then, to use enemies as enemies, rather than transforming them into friends or allies. Conflict can be a key approach to power. Without a worthy opponent, a man or group cannot grow stronger. Constant conflict will make you stronger, and hone your skills. Remember these points when using conflict to gain power. First, never ever pick a fight with someone you are not sure you can defeat. Always count the cost of conflict. Second, if you have no apparent enemies, you must sometimes set up a convenient target to turn into one. Third, use such enemies to define your cause more clearly to the public, even framing it as a struggle of good against evil. A sharply defined enemy is a far stronger argument for your side than all the words you could possibly put together. Never let the presence of an enemy upset or distress you. You are far better off with a declared enemy or two, than not knowing where your real enemies lie. The man of power welcomes conflict, using enemies to enhance his reputation as a sure-footed fighter who can be relied upon in times of uncertainty. And victory over a strong enemy can give you a reputation as someone to respect, even fear. The reversal. Although it is generally best not to mix work with friendship, there are times when a friend can be used to greater effect than an enemy. A man of power, for example, often has dirty work that has to be done. But for the sake of appearances, it is generally preferable to have other people do these dirty deeds for him. His friends often do this best, since their affection for him makes them willing to take chances. Finally, the problem about working with friends is that it confuses the boundaries and distance that working requires. But if both partners in the arrangement understand these potential dangers, a friend can often be employed to great effect. However, you must never let your guard down in such a venture. Always be on the lookout for any signs of emotional disturbance, such as envy and ingratitude. Nothing is stable in the realm of power, and even the closest of friends can be transformed into the worst of enemies.